Nashville, Tennessee. How many folks have been in Nashville, Tennessee out there? There's the party people right there, huh? I've been there for about 22 years now, and I love living there, but it's changed a lot. Just like everywhere, it's changed a lot in the past 20 years. When I moved there, I was looking forward to seeing country music stars that I grew up with. You know, Alan Jackson, Clint Black, and all those things. And I moved there, and before you know it, Taylor Swift took over, just like that. She took over. She was in town 3 weeks ago, sold out 3 nights at the football stadium. All 3 nights sold out. Isn't that amazing? And she's made all the money you can make, but I tell you what, she is not happy at all, is she? Have you ever listened to one of her songs? Every song she's mad at somebody else, isn't she? We counted up, she's got 16 different songs about breaking up with boyfriends. My goodness, after 16, the problem could be you, all right? I'm just saying. Why you gotta be so mean? Shake it off, shake it off. That'd be tough if you're a guy and you're on a date with her. I bet the whole time you're just thinking, what does my name rhyme with? Well, I don't want to pick on her. She's successful. That's great. There's guys that are my age. I have no idea what they're singing about half the time. One of my favorite guys is Trace Atkins. You ever hear of Trace Atkins? Great deep voice, way down there. What I like about him is if he gets stuck for a rhyme, he just makes up a new word and slides it in there. Sometimes it takes a minute to catch on to what he did. First time I noticed it, he had that song, Honky Tonk Badonky Donk. You ever heard that masterpiece? That is some Shakespeare right there, ain't it? Well, none of that song made sense to me. There's one line there, he says, go slap your grandma. Raise your hand if you ever slapped your grandma. Anybody? You wouldn't have that hand to raise right now, would you? My grandma would rip my arm off and beat me with it and crochet it back on. Walk it off, boy, walk it off. But I love country music. I grew up on all kinds of music. Rock and roll. We got rock and rollers out there. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, I know we got people from all over the place, several different states, maybe 7 or 8 at least. We don't know each other. We don't have time to shake hands with each other, but one way we can get to know a little bit, if you remember your first concert you ever went to, as I go down your road, kind of raise your hand and I'll get to you and just kind of let us know who it was, whether it's rock or gospel or country or whatever it might have been. We'll start over here on this edge. Anybody remember your first concert over here? Yes, sir. Night Ranger. Not bad right there. What about you? Less Than Jake. Probably bought tickets to Jake and he didn't show up, so you had to see Less Than Jake. Yes, ma'am, right here.
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. Hey, they got the AARP cards now, so that's pretty good. They do. I get the magazine. Yes, sir. The Cars? Rick Ocasek, I love the Cars growing up. Yes, ma'am, right here.
Sibelius Symphony Number 2.
Hold on, I had 2 at once. Yes, sir. What was yours?
Sibelius Symphony Number 2.
Sibelius Symphony Number 2. We all saw them as our first concert. Don't be bragging about it. We have no idea who you're talking about. Now, where was that? Where do you live?
Well, that was in California.
That was in
I'm
California?
Colorado now.
Very good. That's an interesting, different one. Yes, sir, back there. Look at that. Oh, you're right at home here in Denver, aren't you? Jefferson Starship gets you some CBD coffee across the street there. I don't know what they're doing with that stuff. Yes, sir, back here. Boston. Right, man, they had it down. Yes, sir.
Iron Butterfly, 1967.
Iron Butterfly, 1967. Indigada DeVita. If you were a DJ at a radio station, that was your best friend right there. You put on the first half, you had 20 minutes to go roam the parking lot, smoke a cigarette, come back in. It was. Back there on the ball. The Newsboys, very good. There we go. Now we're in the pocket a little bit. Anybody else got this way? No, over here, yes, sir.
Audio Adrenaline.
Audio Adrenaline, very good.
Keith Green.
Keith Green. Can't go wrong with Keith Green. Yes, sir. Carmen. Oh, yeah, Carmen. A friend of mine used to open for Carmen all the time. Yeah. Said he was a great guy. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah.
Deep Purple.
Deep Purple. Oh, yeah. Man, this is some good musical taste over there. Cheap Trick. I saw them inside a racetrack one time. They were good. Yes, over here. Foghat. I saw Foghat open for Cheap Trick at a racetrack. So that's mine. In Lexington, Kentucky. I was a senior in high school. How about that? Yes, sir. Right there with the beard. Chicago, another good one. Oh, man, yes, man.
David Cassidy.
David Cassidy. You still got that poster up on the back of your door, don't you? David, he's like, yes, he does. Over here. Ooh, Ted Nugent. Very good. Different. Back there. Tom Jones. There's some real talent for sure. Sir.
My wife, she doesn't want to say it.
Who did she see?
John Denver.
John Denver. I love John Denver. Yeah. And over here.
Patsy Cline.
Ooh, we might have a winner right there. How about that? Patsy Cline. That's going to beat everybody in the room. Nobody said my first concert. My first concert was in 1977. I was in 3rd grade. My Uncle Chuck took me to see Kiss. Do you remember Kiss? I saw them in 3rd grade. I saw them 2 years ago, and whoo, they need to make up this time around, don't they? That's a wagon load of ugly on tour right there. Whole concert sponsored by Mary Kay just to help them out. Big pink tour bus going down the interstate. But when I was a kid, I liked it because they would blow stuff up. They had pyrotechnics. One thing I never understood, there was a guy that would spit blood on people in that band. Remember that deal? That was the gimmick. Now if he doesn't, they have to stop the show, make sure he doesn't have a medical condition. But that was like the craziest band. I like all kinds of music, and I thought I'd see all that stuff in Nashville. Oddly enough, the first celebrity I saw when I moved to Nashville was Al Gore. He was just talking about Al Gore. I'm like, and he was at the car wash of all places, and I'm like, man, he could have got a better job after being the vice president than working in the car wash. He was wasting a lot of water. Looked bad for the environment, if you ask me. I'll get you back with this next one, though. The thing I love about where I live now, I'm 10 minutes away, about 8 miles away from the original Cracker Barrel. Do we have some Cracker Barrel people out there today? Now we're talking, right? Who gets breakfast whenever you go? Anybody else? Yeah. Uncle Herschel's favorite or the Sunrise Sampler?
French toast.
French toast. You're living on the edge there, buddy, aren't you? Living on the edge. I love the Cracker Barrel. I almost died one time at a Cracker Barrel. I did. I was sitting there having my Uncle Herschel's favorite. I was eating a hash brown casserole, kind of eyeballing my fried apples on the side there. The tornado siren goes off down the street. I hear it. I start looking around for a safe place to hide inside a Cracker Barrel. Can you pick a more unsafe place to be? You ever look at the walls and ceilings in there? They got hose, pitchforks, antlers. Golf tees are flying at you 90 miles an hour. It's like a hillbilly matrix, like pew. I was slipping on cherry cobbler for a half an hour trying to get out. I love going there, but I had to cut back on going there because I found out about a year and a half ago I got high cholesterol. Anybody else got high cholesterol out there? Come on, I'm looking at this group. There's more than me and 2 other people. Put your hand up high. You worked your whole life to clog up that artery. Get it up as high as you can. Now let me ask you this, same people, how many of you think it's a scam? Anybody else think it's a scam, high cholesterol? 100% with me on that one. 2 reasons I know it's a scam. First off, my grandma lived to be almost 99 years old. She used the same bacon grease she kept in a Folgers can underneath the kitchen sink for 40 years in a row. Put your hand up if you know a grandma like that. It was great. But yeah. We started cutting that out. We started getting high cholesterol. I think we need more lard, not less of it. That's what I think. We go to her house sometimes on the weekends. She'd make us some bacon and eggs. She'd get a metal ice cream scoop, get in that thing of lard from that Folgers can, throw it in there and heat it up. There'd be a piece of bacon from 1975 just hanging all waving at you. Take me home, brother, take me home. So yeah. The other reason I know it's a scam is I did not have it till my doctor said I did. Kind of weird how that worked out, isn't it? I go in for a physical checkup, get all the stuff done, and a few days later, he calls me up in a panic. You got to get back down here. Your cholesterol number is through the roof. I said, well, what is it? 425. That is high. That was the highest in my county, so I got to go to regionals and everything. I made it to the gravy bracket, and I got stuck. But yeah, 425 is no joke at all, is it? It's supposed to be 200 and under. If you're a young person, that's what it's supposed to be, under 200. So he told me I needed to change my diet and my exercise programs. I'm like, that is going to be tricky because I do not have either program going on right now. I said, what should I do first? He said, young man, get on a diet, come back in a month, we'll do a blood work again, see if it changed anything at all. I said, what diet? Because I'm going to leave that up to you, do some research, find out which one you can stick with. That's dumb. Because I started researching diets that let you eat meat. That's what I wanted to do. You know? And it kept coming back with the Atkins diet. You ever hear about the Atkins diet? Anybody ever try that one out? Looks good on paper, but it's hard to stick with, ain't it? You're supposed to eat meat 5 or 6 times a day. Then it says go outside, smoke a cigarette, and come back in and take a nap. That's hard to keep up. That was a Chet Atkins diet that I got on. If you don't know who he is, you probably don't have high cholesterol. So that didn't work. My number got worse. Then he said, well, you have to try some exercise. I said, I want you to be specific so I don't mess it up. He goes, let's just do something easy. Why don't you ride a bicycle 3 or 4 times a week for an hour at a time? I said, I'll tell you why not. I'm 54 years old. It's not that I can't do it. It's just, let's be honest for a second. When you see a man my age on a bicycle, you do not instantly think he's exercising. I feel like that guy had a repo or a DUI. You don't say it, but you're thinking it. I know. I did not want people pointing at me thinking that. So I didn't want to ride a bike. He said, well, we got wonderful medication we can give you. Y'all heard that speech before? Yeah. I said, I don't know how wonderful. I've watched every pill commercial because every show I watch is only pill commercials now. They have 50 seconds of fast-paced side effects you can't even listen into. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Have you heard? This is my favorite. Don't try Skyrizi if you're allergic to Skyrizi. Well, who knows? Well, you wake up one day going, man, I don't know. I could be allergic, but I'm going to take a dice and roll it anyway. See what happens. How about at the very end when they go, may cause an early death? You don't need to be hearing that. Get your medicine. So I said, well, if they're wonderful, put me on a trial, sample for 2 weeks and we'll see what happens. So he put me on Lipitor, 2-week trial. He gave me the pills to go and everything was going fine to the 15th day when I had to pay for it myself. Y'all know what real Lipitor costs? $8 a pill. That's a Big Mac and a side of fries. $8 right there. And if you take one of them rosuvastatins or whatnot, they're tiny. Like one where I got to take it and I dropped it, it rolled down the cart. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was at $8, just like that. I've never been so mad that early in the morning of my life. So here's what I do now. I just wrap it up in a piece of ham, swallow it whole every day. Melting cheese on there so it sticks real good, You get a toothpick in there, that's a pill in a blanket. That's what it is. So I'm trying to take care of the cholesterol, but now I've changed my eating habits a little bit. I've tried to eat more chicken, which that's easy to do. There's a million chicken places now. I like them all. I kind of like Zaxby's a little bit. I like Slim Chickens, but I kind of like supporting Chick-fil-A if I got an option. If it's not too busy. They're nice people, aren't they?
Yep.
They are. The kids that go through their programs always get smarter, and they're just enriched, I think, by the experience. And they do things beyond what they need to do. I think that's the big thing. Like I heard about this in Texas about 2 years ago. A lady was on the way to the hospital to give birth to her first baby. About halfway there, she panics, her water breaks. She tells her husband, we cannot make it to the hospital. But up here on this exit, there's a Chick-fil-A. It'll be clean, they'll be friendly, and they'll help us out. Now, first off, that's some good PR. People having babies at your fast food joint because it's clean, you're doing something right. Ain't no babies over at Arby's right now. I'll tell you that much. No babies over there. They got the meats and the crinkle fries, but they ain't got no babies. So the husband pulls in the Chick-fil-A, and sure enough, it's clean, they're nice, they help out baby born successful, healthy, and everything. But that would have been enough. Wouldn't y'all agree that would have been enough for Chick-fil-A to pitch in with liability and whatever? But the guy that ran that particular one said, you know what? This has been a blessing for us. I want it to be a blessing for y'all too going forward. This family can eat here for free till that child turns 14 years old. I didn't know it worked like that. I told my wife, we should have had our babies over at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Nobody should pay $18 for mashed potatoes. That's my mom. That waiter brings up the bill. It's going to be $150. I don't think so. Have you met my baby? Ruth, born right there on the spot. Twin brother Chris. Yeah, so I am trying to eat healthier. My wife's trying to sneak me healthy food. Ladies, you don't have to be sneaky about it. Just tell us up front. I made burgers the other day on the grill. My wife got out the microwave and made an Impossible burger in there and tried to slip it on top of my stack of real meat. I mean, first off, you ever have an Impossible burger? Yeah. It's impossible to not tell it's not a burger. Hey, it is what it is. I don't care. It's vegetables. It's round. That's fine, but it's not a burger, I took one bite. I could tell it wasn't one of mine. I said, "Ooh, what is that?" My wife's like, "Oh, honey, it's a bunch of vegetables squished together to taste like meat." I'm like, honey, when I was growing up, they called that hamburger helper. You sprinkle on a bun, put cheese on it, and call it a burger. That's just ridiculous. She says, well, you have to eat healthier. She goes, in fact, and I looked it up, it's true. She said, Kentucky Fried Chicken is coming out with chickenless chicken pretty soon. Have we lost our minds in this country? If I bite into a wing ding and it tastes like a green bean, we're going to fight. I tell you that much right now. Colonel Sanders kicked the bucket a second time when he heard that news, didn't he? Like that enough. But I do try to exercise and try to have fun, and I really want to live longer because I got 2 kids. I love them. I want to be around for them. My son's actually here with me tonight. There he is in the back. Raise your hand so they can say hey to you. Summer breaks, like driving along. And he's a good kid. If you got teenagers, it can go either way, can't it? But so far, I've been good with him. The only thing I haven't understood is like when he turned 16, he really didn't want a driver's license. Y'all know teenagers like this?
Yep.
Shaking your head. Yeah. People think I make it up. It's real. And I did some digging into it. None of his friends wanted to drive, and what they were afraid of is they were going to have a head-on collision with a job or an occupation. Like it's sideswiped at a 4-way by a paycheck. You know, it's dangerous. But no, I want to have as much fun as I can. But I'm like, summertime's rolling up on us. Get a job somewhere, maybe Chick-fil-A. And if they're too busy or they're full up, even McDonald's is always hiring. And my son is a good kid, loves the Lord, knows the Bible. He came right back to me. He goes, you know what? I hear what you're saying. But the Bible clearly says, do not work for the meat that spoils, but instead work for the food that nourishes eternally. I'm like, that is good, buddy. But I've seen documentaries on that McDonald's food. It does not spoil. So get you the job. There's an egg McMuffin from 1970 going to outlive all of us. But I really enjoyed this age. Even when he was younger, he was always kind of funny, So I've got him. He's 17. Birthday coming up pretty soon. Got a 10-year-old baby girl, which is a lot of fun. And recently, my wife has even started talking about adoption. I'm like, I'm 54. I think you need to hold on here a second. I don't think anybody is going to take these kids off her hands at this point, The 10-year-old's kind of a handful. If you want to give her up first, let's go ahead and see what happens. She's not here, so we can talk about her. Now, I tell you, I don't know, if she had been born first, I may not have had a son. She is a handful every day. There's some kind of challenge going on. Very emotional girl, 10 years old. But I think both our kids are great. They speak clearly, they're honest, but sometimes they don't know when to say something and when to just to keep it on the inside. You know what I mean? And so it's harmless, but sometimes it just comes out, you're like, oh, you probably should have kept that one to yourself. Like my son, when he was like 5, we're brushing our teeth one night before we go to bed. He's looking in the mirror at him for a minute, and he looks over at me, and he looks back at him, and I see him kind of going back and forth. I'm like, what's going on, buddy? He goes, Papa, I just noticed me and you, we kind of look alike. I said, well, that's kind of how it works. What do you think about that? He looks back at me and looks in the mirror and goes, what are you going to do? Probably not going to get a date for prom. And probably not going to get a date for prom. But it's funny. It's just what it is, My 10-year-old, same way. When the pandemic hit, I obviously was out of work for a while. But I can tell you, God blessed me, and in some crazy way, it turned out to be one of my best years ever, and He gave me time to do some other things, spend more time with my family. But it was a real blessing. I can go into great detail at any point with you if you want. But it was so crazy because my daughter and I realized maybe my wife, they kind of were used to me being gone a little bit more, I was home all the time for the first time in a long time. One night, maybe 5-6 weeks into it, my daughter looks across the table at dinner. She goes, Papa, why are you here all the time now? I'm like, well, I'm here the same reason you're here from school and you can't go in. We're just trying to wait it out and figure it out or whatnot. She goes, can't you just go anyway? Well, I wish I could. You just can't yell jokes at people going down the street and think you're crazy. I said, well, they actually called my job non-essential, so I can't go. And she's like, what does that even mean? She was like 8 at the time. I'm like, how do you explain that? I'm like, well, honey, it's something that's nice to have, and you don't absolutely have to have it to get through life. She goes, oh, I get it. Kind of like your hair. Kind of like your college fund. both good. I give the credit really to my wife because she's there 24/7, 365, and been married for 21 years or so. Going pretty good. That's not bad, but I guess in this room we got some people with more than 40 years. Anybody more than 40 years being married? Keep them up for me. 45. Look at this. 50 years of being married. How long for you two back there? 50. Anybody? How about for you two? 50 over there. Sir? 50. I hear 53 down in the front row. We got 53 down here. We got 54 down, 53, we got 53 down. We got 53 going one time. 53. Have a nice round of applause for all those folks that made it 5 decades. That's awesome. I know it's not easy. Sometimes they're harder than others. Some things are easier than others, but you got to stick with it and communicate. That's what I've learned. Communicate. In fact, back in February, my wife said this out loud, and I took it the way she meant it. She goes, I want you to communicate more, but I'm tired of hearing you talk. You see, I need to use humor as a defense mechanism in my house. Y'all start to say, we're sitting on the couch, I'm like, what does that even mean? It sounds like you just canceled yourself out. He goes, no, sometimes we'll sit down and we'll talk for maybe a whole hour, nonstop we'll be talking, then we get up and really haven't said anything at all. Like, that's how we're still married after 20 years, don't you understand? She goes, I think you want me to read your mind. I'm like, oh no, I don't know what you're reading my mind. You just slashed my tires yesterday. Those are my socks, I'll put them wherever I want. I mean, you've all had the same conversation. It's just, when you're with somebody, you just got to learn that they're going to be a little quirky. You have to be a little quirky too. That's just the way things are. God made us different. It's just so it's interesting. Maybe the part of it. But we were sitting there and we were watching, it's February, maybe the first week or so, we were watching one of them Hallmark movies. I know. Fellas, you ever had to sit through a Hallmark movie? Oh my goodness. If you've never been through one or watched one, fellas, I don't want to ruin how it goes for you or anything like that, but this particular one we were watching, it was a Christmas episode, and this lady, she's 39 years old, never been married. She was fine with it. She got 39 cats. She's busy at home, you know. Maybe it's why she's not married. She hasn't put that together yet, but she's 39. Her friends are like, you gonna get married or not? She's like, I don't know if it's ever gonna be in my cards. And out of the blue, she gets a text from this boy she knew in high school. Right after high school, he moved up to Canada for a university study on hypothermia prevention. That's what he does for a living up there in Canada, you know, because it gets colder there. And he sends her a text, I'm coming back in town to visit my meemaw. Can I swing by and have coffee sometime? She's like, I think so. That'd be great. You know, come and see me. So she looks him up in the yearbook to kind of refresh her memory. He had chicken pox real bad, and now he's got a full beard that might work out, you know. So she's a little, you know, judgmental, but she's going to work on that. So he texts her, says, I'm flying into Kansas City this weekend, and I'll see you in a little bit. I'll text you when I land. So she's like, it's going to be a snowstorm. I don't know if you're going to make it all right. Well, sure enough, he lands just in time, but the snowstorm comes across and shuts down half the interstate. He's driving on one lane on one wheel in a rental car. He gets to the covered bridge where they first met back in high school and hung out a little bit, and the bridge iced over before the road, and it's solid ice. He's afraid to get across it, so he calls her back and says, I can't make it across that bridge. It ain't going to work out. But lucky for him, she runs a tow truck company on the side. She does pretty good. I've been doing it for 15 years, nonstop. So she said, don't worry, I know where you're at. I'll meet you there. So she drives that tow truck there and pulls up, gets the hook off of the winch and loosens it up, throws it across there, and he gets it on the front of his rental car, and she starts pulling him across and pulling him across. And halfway across that rickety old bridge, it collapses and he drowns in that water and gets taken off in the river. I know. Which is sad and ironic because he spent his whole life studying hypothermia prevention. That's the way he is. Sad. I don't know if it ended that way. I fell asleep during the opening credits. So we were sitting there watching that Hallmark movie, or sort of watching it, and this conversation was going on. And she's like, I think you want me to read your mind. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that. She's like, well, what are you thinking right now? Now, fellas, if you've ever watched one of those, any movie during Valentine's season, every commercial is geared towards the guy who's watching to go buy a gift for Valentine's Day. And they are cranking up the heat on those fellas. There's one commercial that goes, get her a car. She won't expect that. I'm like, oh, no, she won't. I don't think she would expect me to fill her tank up on the one she's got right now. $3.39 a gallon. So we're watching all this stuff, and she's like, you know, what are you stressed out about? I'm like, well, these commercials. I'm not going to buy you a car. I hope that's not what you're expecting. I said, after 20 odd years now, I bought you 4 or 5 presents a year. I'm just out of ideas. I'm actually down to get her gift cards at Cracker Barrel, so I can go out to eat. We don't go there during tornado season anymore, but we still go. So I just said, I said, I'm going to communicate. This is what I'm trying to do, honey. Is there something I've never gotten you that you would like? It may not be a surprise, but I'll get it for you. Thinking that'd be okay. She goes, well, that's good. She goes, I don't think you should even worry about buying me gifts after all these years. Just, how about this year we'll do something different? No gifts, but we'll just exchange ideas to each other on a piece of paper and a card instead. I said, what kind of ideas? She said, well, I'm going to write down a few things you're not doing right around the house you could do better. You write down a couple about me. I'm like, stop right there. That is a trap girl on an escalator. That's what that is. I'm like, let me get this straight. You're going to tell me something I'm not doing right? I'm going to tell you something you're not doing right, and that's a nice romantic Valentine's Day? She goes, well, if we fix those 6 or 7 things. I'm like, she's got it started already. I didn't know what the game was. I'm down 6-0. It's not a double playing field. So, but I knew she had 6 on me. That was a part of what I was hearing. The second thing I was hearing as a guy is, I don't have to go shopping or spend any money. It won't cost me nothing for Valentine's Day. I said, I know. I'm like, this 6 steps on the hallway. I'm like, this could cost me the house and kids right now. I mean, that could be a loaded, like, how do you tell her what's going on that's wrong? I never even thought in terms like that. I've been happy, but maybe she's not. She got 6 or 7 things. So I started trying to write down some ideas of what I could come back at her, if she really wanted to do this. I really, after a few days, realized, pretty lucky, blessed man. She's not doing anything wrong. She does weird stuff. She does stuff that I don't do. She could do different, but what do I say? So I wrote down one little thing, kind of a compliment in hiding, but I wrote that down in case she wanted to do it. We go out to Valentine's Day dinner on Valentine's Day. Don't ever do that. Y'all ever been down that mess? Do what you have it at a church banquet, whatever you want to do. That's the way to do it. We're waiting there 45 minutes for our food. I said, listen, while we're waiting, what am I not doing right? She goes, well, here's the big thing. If I ask you to fix something in the house, could you maybe do it the same year I asked you to do it? I'm like, give me one example. She's like, I'll ask you to change a light bulb. You wait till every light bulb around it burns out, then you change them all at once. I guess why they put the extra ones up there to do it. Must have missed that day in school. I didn't say that, but I was thinking, I said, honey, I will try harder. I've learned that's a good phrase to say. Honey, I'll try harder. She goes, well, what about me? I said, I want to be really clear. This is Valentine's Day. I think you're doing great. In fact, I don't think you're doing anything wrong. One thing I kind of miss, before I had our first kid 17 years ago, if I wasn't traveling and I was home on a Saturday morning, sometimes you would have this big old breakfast cooked up for me, just like Cracker Barrel in the house, just like I had growing up on the farm. It was great, but I know you don't have time for it and you're tired with your own schedule, but man, I miss it. I looked back across the table, and she had started tearing up and crying right there at the Hardee's. I mean, you try to go somewhere nice. Get a soggy thick burger. I didn't mean make you cry. It's a compliment. She goes, well, I didn't think you liked the way I make breakfast. That's why I quit doing it, not because of the kids' schedule. I just didn't think you liked it. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah, I thought I was ruining it. How do you ruin breakfast? Really? I mean, when you burn bacon, that's the way I like it. All the cholesterol cooked clean out of it. When it's crunchy, there's no cholesterol. I said, well, I'm not saying you have to make me breakfast, but I do miss it. That's the only thing I can think of to say. She goes, all right. Well, fellas, here's why you communicate. Very next morning, February 15th, I wake up at 6 a.m. What do I smell? Maple syrup, pancakes, all kinds of stuff going on. I run downstairs, and my sweet wife had bought a candle somewhere that smelled exactly. You ever been hungry and mad at 6 a.m.? I hit that bottom step, I see the candle flicker, and I'm like, what is going on down here? It's like, oh, I had to use it. The last light bulb just burned out. She's a good gal. We do get along good. She gets good along with my family. I grew up in Kentucky. Y'all ever been to Kentucky before? Yeah. Pretty state. I grew up there and moved after I got out of high school a little bit later on. But still see my parents, they're still with us. My dad's 86, my mom's 83 or so, hanging in there. Lived in the same little house since 1967. Same place. Last time I went by, my mom was real proud. I said, what's going on around here? She goes, we just got a home security system installed. What do you think about that? I'm like, well, what do you think's going to happen? Somebody's going to break in and remodel when you're not looking? I love your house, but nobody's breaking down the door. And if they do, they'll trip over the beanbag chair. They'll hit the couch, slide off the plastic. Right? Hit the wall, orange picture made out of yarn will come down on top of it. I said, somebody else breaking here, so run to that middle compartment of your 6-foot wide stereo and hang in there and wait for it to go away. Pop out with an Oak Ridge Boys 8-track tape. Take it! Giddy up, boom, bop, bow, bow. I should make fun of that stereo. It's going to be mine one day. Parents are great, but they're downsizing. Y'all been through downsizing? Well, that's a mighty nice term for just giving me stuff they should have thrown away 40 years ago. The stuff we hold on to, it's embarrassing, ain't it? And sometimes it's just that they think it's going to go up in value, you know. Last trip, my mom gave me an old computer she found in the attic. Yes, a Commodore 64. You remember Commodore 64? From 1981. My older brother, Jeff, got that out of a Sears catalog. You remember Sears catalogs? It was like Amazon, but more convenient. In one book, you could look at it anytime, you know? My older brother got that computer, knew how to reprogram it before he even got into high school. That's how smart he was with computers. My parents never been on a computer to this past Christmas. They were holding out. We didn't want them to get on there. And we didn't want to be IT support for 3 hours away, basically. But my mom said, we're watching all these commercials. They say, to learn more, to go whatever.com. And we're not learning anything more because we ain't got a .com to look at. I'm like, was that all you're going to use it for? She's like, yeah, pretty much. So we get him a little laptop. She goes, also, we'd like a camera on there so we can FaceTime and see the grandkids more. I said, that's great. That's a great reason to get it. We'll do it. So we get it for him, get him hooked up on it. A couple of days later, my dad calls me up on the landline. He's all excited. He said, Richard Dale, I'm about to fire off an email. Keep an eye out for it. I will, sir, but just so you know, you don't have to call people right before you fire off an email to them. You're going to text me later. How about a smoke signal? That'll be a good idea. Maybe two. It's kind of windy. But I figured he was just excited about firing off his first email. We didn't really hook him up with a lot of email stuff. So I look at my inbox. There's an email, but it's not coming from my dad. It's asking me if I would like to follow him on Twitter. This ain't good for anybody right here. So I kind of hesitate, but I clicked the link to see if he actually put up a Twitter page. I mean, he's never been on a computer. Maybe it's just a mistake, or my older brother's playing a game on me. I clicked on there. Not only had he set up a Twitter page, put up a picture and everything, in 2 days, put out 165 tweets. Yes. All capital letters. No punctuation. 0 followers. He ain't hurting nobody. He's just tweeting in the breeze. Let him go. Sling them out there. See if they come back. But I'm looking at the number 165. I'm like, this could go either way, right? Maybe he fell asleep on a space bar at some point. Maybe that's what happened. So I start reading through them and realize pretty quickly it's not 165 individual thoughts. It's one story that took him 2 days to type in there. It gets even worse. It's a big story about birds, because my dad thought Twitter was a bird watching, updating website. That's my gene pool. I'm lucky I found this place. If you're on Twitter, I'm trying to get him more followers. He's only got 2 since Christmas. It's me and the Audubon Society. They think he's up to something. But you can find him. He's at Nuthatcher 401-261853, which is also his social security number. So, if you want to log him out, the password is password. Capitals. Yeah, but that's my parents. My in-laws, a lot of them live down in Arkansas. You ever been to Arkansas? Yeah. That's a whole different ball of wax down there, ain't it? I mean, you turn on news talk radio down there, it's just a guy whistling. There ain't nothing going on. He starts humming, that's a commercial right there. First time I ever went down there, when I started doing comedy, I I called it the Comedy Club. I was living in Nashville. I said, how long do you think it'll take me to get to Little Rock to do my comedy show down that way? The guy that ran the comedy club says, I don't know. I've never left the state. But there could be a time difference. Check into it. Well, there's no time difference between those. Well, yeah, there was. About 15 years altogether. They're still wearing Who Shot JR tank tops down there. They don't know who did it, so don't tell them. They've always been wireless. I enjoy the scenery in a lot of places. Like it's really pretty around here right now, isn't it? Like I know it's a little bit wetter than normal, which is probably a good thing. You need to get a little more built up in your reservoirs and whatnot. Very green around here. Some places pretty. Some places, I mean, to get here. Like one time I drove from Kansas all the way across to Denver. You ever done that? Anybody? Man, do it at night, right? That's the best way to do it. So you're not going to miss anything anyway, right? Yeah, exactly right. I knew it was going to be flat. I didn't know you had to bring your own people from like the middle of Kansas all the way across. I mean, you're just looking for anything. You see a cow, you're like, yes, living creatures. We're still there. Like that tornado from the Wizard of Oz took everybody on that western half. And sometimes you see signs that are like, don't even get off at this exit, no services. Like you'll run out of gas looking for gas. You ever seen those? That's bad. Sometimes they have a big billboard that says, this Kansas farmer feeds 500 families plus you. Well, I just pull over and say, what's for dinner? When I see one of them signs, like, it's plus me, let's go. But the first time I drove across, I didn't realize the highway patrol in Kansas, especially the western half, almost exclusively drive in unmarked patrol cars, right? Because if they drove a regular one with a bubble top, you could spot them 6 or 7 hours away, you know? But nobody tells me that. I'm driving, I get about as far as Emporia, then it's just flat all the way across, and I'm doing 10 and 2 and speed limit, but this guy goes flying by me in a Trans Am. I don't know he's an unmarked police officer. He's like, whew. I'm like, all right, game on. You gotta keep up with that guy. He's got a radar detector. He had the radar. I did not detect it, apparently. So I'm trying to catch up to him. And I mean, at the time, not that easy. I had a 1996 3 out of 4 cylinder Isuzu pickup truck. That's a woman getter right there, ain't it? So I'm hanging on. It takes me about a half an hour before I catch up to his taillights, and I just kind of gauge it from where he's going. Then I see he started slowing down. Like, must be a speed trap. I'll slow down too. Then he speeds back up. I'm like, game on again. Let's do it, you know? Then he starts really pumping the brakes. He gets closer to me and closer to me. He's kicking up gravel and everything. Like, this guy has fallen asleep behind the wheel or had a heart attack or something. I said, see if he's all right. Check on him. Pull him over and see if he's doing okay. Like, you ever been so stupid you pull the cops over? Anybody else? First off, that's a lot of paperwork. You don't even get involved with that. Second off, I don't know how to do that. I'm like, he's over there. He's not stopping. I can't go around him. And I still don't know he's an officer either. So I'm like, what should I do? So I rolled down the window at first. I'm like, I must have swallowed 13 skeeters for you. Hey, y'all, I've been in 48 of the states. I don't know what it is about the size of the skeeters in Kansas. They could have stood on their tippy toes and whipped a chicken. They were big as things. Must be the sunflowers. I have no idea. But the guy didn't pull over, so I start flipping my high beams and him doing the noise like, woo, 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 woo. Then he pulls over. Like, all right, he's alert. I'll see what's going on. Jump out of my truck, run up to his window. I just started pounding on his window. Meanwhile, he's been loading the revolver on the other side. Then he cracks the window, and I see he's an officer. I got zero game plan. But I start thinking maybe I should arrest him for reckless driving before he gets me for speeding. I don't know exactly how to do it. All I know is from watching Barney Fife my whole life. So I just walk over, like, hey! Would you mind rolling down the window? You want to get out of the vehicle there, buddy? You're a big one too, aren't you? Look at you. Just want to know why I pulled you over? I'm an idiot. I thought I was going to prison right there. He's like, you're so weird, I'll drop you off wherever you want to go. No, I wish. He was angry and confused, and that is not a good combination. They said, get in the squad car. So he opens up that little Trans Am door, puts me in the back seat, and locks me in there. He goes, First he goes, I'll be right back. He gets on his shoulder radio. He's like, pum, 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 pum. 6 minutes later, 7 more popo just rode right up in a row. Like half of Kansas is now out here in a meeting. Oh, 7 people from the western half. He talks to them, he gets back in, and he's madder than when he got out. He's like, first off, fellas and I kind of want to know who pulled over who. I said, well, I know it's weird for me, but you were swerving and pumping your brakes. I thought you'd fallen asleep behind the wheel, or even worse. He's like, swerving? You're dumb as a brick. I was trying to get behind you to pull you over for speeding, but you wouldn't let me. I'm like, I didn't know who you were. You never turned on a light or a siren. There was no way for me to guess who you were. I said, did you turn them on and I just missed it? I think, well, you got me on that one, buddy. They went out on me yesterday. I'm like, well, I'll let you go if you let me go. I can't let you go. You know how fast you were going back there? I honestly have no idea. My speedometer broke about 12 years ago. Turns out it's another $75 fine. He goes, I was pacing you at one point. We had 104 miles an hour on I-70. What do you got to say about that? I mean, you never lie. He's got it right there anyway. I said, sir, to be honest with you, I say that's pretty good. A 3 out of 4 cylinder Suzuki pickup truck. I say print that out. Right? That could help me with my trading value right there. He says, what on earth brings you out here to Kansas in the first place? I said, you've got Tennessee license plates. I said, well, that's where I live. I was out here working, but I'm headed back home. He goes, what kind of work brings you out this way? I said, I'm a comedian. I was doing a fundraising event, and now I'm headed on to Denver for another event before I drive all the way back. He goes, wait a second, comedian? I said, yes, sir. He goes, man, get out of the car. I said, I don't know what's going to happen. He get out of the car, he opens the door for me, and he's like walking back and forth. He's like, first off, I want you to just know, first off, I love comedians. I love a good laugh. Laughter's good for you. I understand all that. And I know a lot of comedians. I know all the good comedians by name, and your name does not ring a bell. You must not be as good as you think, because I've never heard of you before. He goes, you ever been on Letterman or Leno or something like that? And I'm like, no. You ever been on Cops? Anyway. Oh, hey, there's a guitar up here. I'm going to play that for a second. All right. Hey, real quick, how about a nice round? We'll flip to this one right here. There we go. Coming through? Yep. All right. A big round of applause for all those tech guys back here making this nice for us. I know the Rhinestone heroes. None of it gets done if we're shouting at you. It sounds kind of angry, so that's good. I'm going to play just a couple quick things. I know it's been a long day, and then we'll get you out of here. We did a little musical taste test earlier to see what kind of fans of music we had out there. So I'm going to see if I can... That'll work. If anybody likes this song, let me know. Make a little noise. Fired up for a second though, don't it? What's that song? Sweet Home Alabama. How lucky is the state of Alabama? They got a cool rock song with their name in it. I bet people on the other side of the globe, it's the first time they heard the word Alabama, and it's kind of cool, you know? That's a good, I mean, Denver, Colorado, you got some cool songs out here. Not every state does. Did a show in West Virginia one time. Like, y'all got a song like that? Yeah. Guy was very confident. He goes, yeah, we got a song like that. It is Georgia. Down the Chattahoochee River right there. That's what I like about music. You can just hear one note, it reminds you of something, doesn't it? Like I got out of high school in the 80s. You must get out of high school in the 1980s. Oh, thanks for staying up late. I appreciate y'all powering through. It takes a lot more work than it used to, doesn't it? But when I was in high school, it was pretty much all heavy metal hair bands right there in the middle of the 80s, you know. And our prom theme one year was Poison. Every rose has a thorn. You remember Poison?
Yes.
I heard a commercial about a month ago. They're going to be on tour this summer with Rat and Warrant. They're surviving members. That's what they said. But the thing that caught my ear, they said, same songs, same energy, just a different decade. I'm like, what was that second one again? Do you think there's any way Poison has the same energy now they did back in the 80s? No, there's no point. They probably have good intentions. They probably come out all fired up like. Probably change your name to Inhaler halfway through the show. But that was rock and roll in the 80s. Anybody get out of high school in the 90s? Anybody get out of high school? Okay. So music went the opposite direction, Pacific Northwest direction. Matter of fact, a lot of grunge music. Bands like Pearl Jam. This is my favorite Pearl Jam song right here. What is that guy trying to say? Sounds like Bob Dylan getting the Heimlich maneuver, don't it? Cough it up, dude. Get a lozenge. I do like all kinds of music. I love country music, but I understand a lot of people don't like it. How many folks out there don't like country music? There's a handful in here. Now, it all kind of comes from country and blues, doesn't it? It all kind of. But here's the thing. Some people don't like it and they don't know why. They come up with some crazy idea. A friend of mine says, I can't tell a good country song from a bad country song. That's sad, because there are a lot of great country songs. I've been in Nashville a little over 20 years, and I've learned this. Every great country song ever written will have one of these things somewhere. That's how you know it's a keeper right there. I don't think they even know when it's happening. I think it was Johnny Cash that really made it popular. Remember those old Johnny Cash songs?
Yeah.
I'm convinced he was just in the studio one day and his finger slipped off the string and they caught it. Like, let's keep that in there. And then everybody copied him. He probably just hanging out going, man, these songs are coming right along. I believe I need a... Could have had a jalapeno popper burn a ring of fire. Burn, burn. But the one thing I really like about country music is they're not afraid to put their egos to the side and team up with each other and do benefits and crossover hits and songs and stuff like that. So what I like to do to wrap up my part of the evening tonight is to get a guy up here to help me sing on this very last song. It's just 4 words you have to say 4 times. Very easy to do. Would you help me out, sir? You're kind of close. Would you want to help out? Or the guy that's pushing the other guy might be good. Give you the mic I started out with so you can have a little breathing room right there. They seem like they knew you there. What is your name?
Arvin.
Arvin, very good. Y'all give it up for Arvin one time. Is this your wife down here, Arvin?
It is.
And how long y'all been married?
20 years.
20 years. Almost. Very good. Well, we didn't plan any of this, did we, ma'am? Because she wouldn't let you come up here, probably. That's good. So, Arvin, do you sing a little bit?
Sure, tonight we do.
Tonight we do. That's the right attitude. You look like you can sing with them sideburns and all that stuff. You're looking pretty sharp.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. There you go. He's been activated. Watch it. Arvin, this is a fun song. It's all about being proud to be a manly man. You proud to be a manly man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I like it. So all you have to do in this song is whenever I say, I'm just a guy, you say, guy, I'm just a guy. All right? We'll practice a couple times. Let's do it once without the music. I'm just a guy.
Guy. I'm just a guy.
Perfect, all right? And then we'll try it. I'm just a guy.
Guy. I'm just a guy.
Oh, man, he's a quick learner right there. This is going to be good. Now, Arvin, you picked that up so fast. I think everybody sitting down should help us out in this song, too, don't you think? All right, so this is a little easier for y'all. At the very end of the song, I'll say 3, 2, 1, drum solo. I want y'all to stomp your feet, do some drumming on the seat backs in front of you. If you got a new knee or a new hip, just wail on it. You won't feel it anyway. When you hear that noise, that's your indication you don't have to sing anymore, okay, when they hit the drum solo. But when they start drumming, that's your invitation to give us an air guitar solo to wrap things up. All right, so you keep up with me, I'll keep up with them, and we'll finish out strong, all right? Y'all ready to try it again? I'm going to practice one more round with him. If he gets it, I want every lady out there to scream and holler like it's the end of a 10-hour Tom Jones concert, all right? I'm just a guy.
a guy.
Well, I don't like 5-hour phone calls or spending all day in the shopping mall. I'd rather get mad and punch a hole in the wall. I'm a guy.
Guy, I'm just a guy.
And I never say I love you all that much. When we dine out, you better be Dutch. I can't mend a broken heart, but I can fix your clutch. I'm a guy.
Guy, I'm just a guy.
I'm just a guy, what can I say? I remembered bowling night, but I forgot your birthday. I'm a guy.
Guy, I'm just a guy.
I left the toilet seat up and you fell in. I took a picture and showed all your friends. Ain't it funny how fast relationships can end? I'm a guy.
I'm just a guy.
I'm just a guy.
Guy, I'm just a guy.
Let's go. I'm gonna count down from 3. When I get to 1, I want to hear a big old drum solo, air guitar. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Help us out now. Well, I can't first off tell you how much of an honor it was for you to let me have some time with your church, and I know we had some of your church people here, as long as well, the pastors that came from all over the place to be here. So thanks for trusting me with them. I hope you all had a good time with that. This is what God put me on the planet to do. I'm convinced I love to have fun. If you're ever looking for a comedian for an outreach event or to help raise money for a missions cause or anything it might be, feel free to holler at me. I'd love to come out this way or anywhere out here in the West. It's such a different thing for me. But God has done a ton of things for me, and I know He's done them for you. Just a quick 30-second, I could testimony all night, but since this happened, I promised myself I'd tell everybody as often as I could, but a little over a year ago, year and a half ago, let me see when it was, about a little 18 months we'll say, went in for a doctor for something besides cholesterol, found out I had cancer, all right? Hard thing to hear, hard thing to acknowledge and process. I felt hard about it for a day, but I was even praying before I even started getting worked up against it. And within, honestly, 25, 26 hours, I was at complete peace with whatever was going to happen, and just prayed that God would get me through whatever's going to be happening. And I couldn't tell you, like I've known about God, I've prayed to God, and I've felt His presence before, but nothing like when I've talked to Him this way. And if whatever you're going through, tough times, you know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I just want to share where my heart is sometimes a tough time is just an invitation to get to know Him better, because He knows we're going to put other things to the side, right? And so that's definitely what it was for me. And I as you do, often promise to God. He already knows what you're going to promise and what you're going to keep to Him. But I said I'm going to share that as much as I can to let people know that you got me through it, so I know other people go through it, and it's not easy to talk about. Even today, it's still a little bit tricky for me, but He got me through it and to the other side. And comedy is a big part of the reason why. And so when you're going through some tough times, we don't remember to laugh enough, even when we know we should. Put on a Pandora channel, pick a comedian that you like, it'll pick other comedians similar to him, and just make time to laugh throughout the week. As pastors, preachers, administrators, it's so hard to find time, but that little drive to and from, maybe it's your time to decompress, use some comedy to make it work out, and just make sure you incorporate it. It's one of the gifts that He gave us, I think, is through most things. Whether it's a weird sense of humor, sometimes a dark sense of humor, or whatever it might be, right? We've all thought things like, whoa, but it made you laugh for a second, it loosened you up for a second. So embrace it. That's just God speaking to you on His terms and His way. But you guys are a very great audience. I had a great time tonight. Thank you very much. God bless you. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Have a good time. Appreciate it.